Okay, moving ahead. Overview. We have understood the blue team capabilities, the blue team responsibilities, what they do. So generally, these are the team members who work responsibly in protecting the organization's infrastructure, networks from cyber threats. Blue teams works closely with red team in conducting cybersecurity exercises to enhance the security posture of any given infrastructure. And the primary focus of Blue Team is also to work proactively in safeguarding these attacks and minimizing the overall risk for the given infrastructure. Now, I'm going to walk through the primary roles and responsibilities quickly one by one before we jump to the practicals, because this is also important for you to understand that what are the exact core responsibilities that a SOC analyst or a Blue Team member would do. So the first core responsibility over here for a blue team member is monitoring and detection. Monitoring what? Monitoring the security incident and security events that happen on the given organization's infrastructure. Now, this incident and event can be on the network level, that is, onto uh, any device that is installed into the given organization's infrastructure. So let's assume the device is router on which an attack is currently happening, or maybe exposed FTP server, etc. So analyzing activities that are happening on the network level. Second, analyzing activities that are happening on the host level, that is on the given host systems. For example, activities that are happening onto a web server, identifying the logs from there, identifying authentication failure attempts, etc. So continuous monitoring and detection is going to be helpful, and this is the core responsibility of a blue team member. Now, one very important thing to make note over here is the blue team member also monitors system logs or any other data source or log source to detect third party activities or unwanted or unauthorized activities, malware infections, or any other suspicious activity in the given infrastructure, to immediately block that attack and stop it so that it does not propagate in the organization's infrastructure. So we have understood about monitoring and detection. Second is incident response. Incident response, primarily, as we have already expressed and understood about this, incident response primarily means taking action and performing a root cause analysis on any given incident that has already occurred. That means, so performing an incident response analysis includes performing the activities on the organization to identify the root cause analysis of already an incident that has occurred and to learn from it so that these activities, these incidents can be avoided in near future. Creating a remediate or a disaster recovery plan or a remediation plan by taking appropriate and necessary actions so these attacks do not happen in future. Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Primarily, SOC team members do not engage in doing VAPT, but the blue team members would actively review and learn from the VAPT exercises that are being happening. So they cordially understand and coordinate with the red team members in reviewing or going through the VAPT exercises of what are the major issues or findings that has been found. They also review and validate the effectiveness of the remediation measures that needs to be taken to patch these types of vulnerabilities. Blue team members also have a close look and they continuously watch the security tools that have been installed in the given organization's infrastructure, like firewalls, intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system, SIEM systems. SIEM is primarily security incident and event management systems. They also check if these tools are currently working on their best optimal configuration. I have seen personally doing a lot of incident response exercises on organizations wherein the organization has spent a lot of money in procuring the security tools or the SIEM solutions, but they're not being configured to its optimal stage. Either the firewall is currently into a learning mode, or the SOC solution or the EDR that has been bought is currently not running, or is being running currently, which is not blocking any threats, etc. So even the organizations spend in procuring these types of security solutions, but they are not configured to their optimal level or optimal stage, which brings the failure within the organization's infrastructure and invites attackers to attack the organization's systems and network. Fifth, Blue team members also review the security policies and procedures time to time. This primarily means identifying the standard operating procedures for any given organization's asset, reviewing the asset inventory and management, checking how many devices the organization uses currently, how many systems, web servers are being used by the developer, if there are any old servers or computers that is being used to serve a given application for a client which is not used anymore. Should that be decommissioned? Because that invites a threat actor or a malicious group to gain unauthorized access to the given organization's infrastructure. And we have seen a lot of attacks in past working with more than 100 organizations very closely. I have seen this majority of the times. The attack happens wherein the attacker gains access to the organization's infra is due to something which was forgot. The developer forgot or was overlooked. The organization ran a web server but forgot about it, and it was not decommissioned a year ago. The organization ran an admin panel for testing update on their UAT or staging server, and due to a business requirement or due to a requirement of the developer, it was running on a public network. The testing was done, the application was pushed to production, but the staging and the UAT environment or the public URL was still present. The attacker found it, found a vulnerability into it, and got access, because the UAT and staging environments are not generally so hardened because they are intended for doing security testing. So they are not very much hardened. And the attackers gain access to the infrastructure using these types of overlooked systems or servers from time to time. So Blue team members' responsibilities also include reviewing security policies, procedures, time to time to see if everything is working correctly. What do you advise? Here, I would definitely suggest to constantly keep a track of the asset inventory of any given organization and continuously review it every month or bi-weekly, whatever is convenient for the organization, just to make sure that how many assets that are not required should be either decommissioned, any unwanted ports that were running a web application or a web server, if not required, should be closed immediately. Any third-party exposed API service or given web application admin panel, if not used currently by the client or the target audience, should be immediately protected behind authentication mechanism, VPN, etc. So a continuous monitoring of these activities for the asset inventory is going to be very, very useful for the organization to avoid different cyber attacks in future. So in case if there is such requirement for an organization wherein their clients wants to test a given application which is hosted onto a staging and UAT environment, and they want to access it, in that case, the organization can provide and enforce IP whitelisting of the client, wherein the given client's infrastructure or the systems or public network from where the tester or the security analyst is going to connect to test the staging environment can only connect it via that given IP address. So IP whitelisting is something which can be implemented by the organization. So any other user, third-party user, attacker, or anyone who tries to access the given application, the firewall would basically check that, oh, this is not the whitelisted IP address, and would basically block that. So this is the first thing. Second additional step that can be added over here is, so whatever are the testing, staging, and UAT environment should always be a separate, isolated environment, which should not be on the primary servers. So by primary servers, I mean these applications which are running onto the server should be into an isolated, either isolated VLAN or an isolated server. So even though the attackers get access to this, somehow they are unable to go to the primary servers or do a lateral movement to the production servers. So the UAT staging environment should not be connected to the production, or there should not be a way that it gets connected to the production. They should be completely isolated. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Moving ahead, security awareness and education is also a core responsibility of a blue team member. Why? Because blue team members here can take security conscious decisions and embrace a security conscious culture within the organization, because we know cybersecurity is continuously and constantly evolving. So creating and delivering cybersecurity awareness programs, training materials, workshops, simulation, educational educating employees on best practices, etc., can definitely be very, very helpful about learning new techniques and attack vectors that can be implemented within the blue team, so that their overall matureness will increase in regards to new techniques and attack vectors that have been currently happening around the world.